Morning everybody, welcome back. Corey Anderson here. Today is Sunday, the 19th, and it is June. Right now it is 11:19 in the morning. And before we get started, I just want to give a small shout out to a really good friend of mine. Her name is Karam. Today is her birthday. She just turned 21. This morning I created a nice little birthday gift for her. And inside this card that we had made a story for her about a lotus. And basically the story behind this lotus was, this lotus is the only lotus there is in a field of barren grain. You know, wheat grain, weeds, whatever else you want there to be, just this barren grain, and there's only one lotus flower. Okay, this lotus flower, during his childhood, he grows up, he's happy, he's spontaneous, he just lives naturally. Okay, and as he gets older, he starts to notice his environment more. He starts to notice his surroundings. He starts to notice exactly where he is placed in the external environment. And as he gets older, his awareness on the fact of that starts to grow on him, and he becomes more and more, he gets himself lost in the external world, because he's not as happy or content, as you can say, as he used to be. Okay, and one day this lotus, he was wondering, like, hey, why is it like this? What happened? What's changed? And one day that lotus decided not to bloom out, not to come out and enjoy the sunlight and reach for the sun and enjoy the day. This day the lotus decided that, you know what, I'm just going to stay within myself. And that is exactly what the lotus does. He stays inside himself for the next couple days, and during this time that the lotus is within himself, he finds his own inner journey. That's when he starts his inner journey and finds himself again. Okay, what happens is, while the lotus goes within himself, he ponders the question of why things have changed. And he starts analyzing him. When he changes the way he thinks of a certain thing, he analyzes how it makes him feel. He analyzes how he reacts differently throughout the day. He learns more about his mind, and how when you create specific images in your mind and you hold them steadily with the will and to the purpose, then those images which he had created will eventually impress upon his own mind and become who he is, become his character, become his person. Basically, the moral of the story is, as the lotus grows up, he loses himself in the outer world, society, whatever, his environment. Okay, as he gets older, he notices something has changed and why things aren't like they were before. So he goes within himself to find the answers, and he does find all the keys within itself. Okay, the lotus goes within himself, finds everything, and then he's able to come back out and enjoy the world, I guess you could say, again. Because basically, how I had this story end was that when the lotus emerged back out into his environment, everything was changed. It was a new sun, it was a new environment, it was a brand new field of barren grain. But basically the moral of the story is that that grain of field that he has been in has been the same the whole entire time. But it is up to the lotus to choose how he's going to experience that environment. It is up to the lotus to choose how he's going to live in that environment. Okay, is he going to be a light in the world inside that specific course of environmental stimuli, or is he going to fall and let the appearances of the environment keep him from forever expanding internally? Okay, that's basically the moral of the story, and him finding out that everything does come from within, and that nothing was lost, only the fact that he had lost conscious possession of his birthright. And that is that we are all co-creators, and we are responsible for the creation of our own lives. But yeah, that was basically the whole, I don't know, peas and carrots, nuts and bolts of the whole story, and that the beauty that the lotus saw within everything else was the beauty that the lotus had created within itself. So, that being said, let's continue, shall we? Right now we are on chapter 14, the science of being well, and this one is called breathing. Breathing. The function of breathing is a vital one, and it immediately concerns the continuance of life. We can live many hours without sleeping, and many days without eating or drinking, but only a few minutes without breathing. The act of breathing is involuntary, but the manner of it and the provision of the proper conditions for a healthy performance fall within the scope of volition. Man will continue to breathe involuntarily, but he can voluntarily determine what he shall breathe, and how deeply and thoroughly he shall breathe, and he can, of his own volition, keep the physical mechanism in condition for the perfect performance of the function. Basically, that paragraph, I'm sure you guys did catch that, saying that breathing is an involuntary function. Okay, it is a function of your subconscious mind. It is something that you just do by yourself, okay? An act of the universal intelligence. And remember what Charles F. Hannell says about this universal intelligence within all of us. It is not an intelligence which most people may think it is. It's the intelligence that is responsible for the growth of your nails, the growth of your hair, the growth of your teeth, the growth, the replacement of your skin, just the building up of new cell material. All that is part of the subconscious activities. And we don't need to make any conscious effort on our part. The only thing we can consciously do is change the degree or intensity of which that occurs, like he's saying for breathing. Breathing is an involuntary function, but we can consciously choose how deeply and how quickly we want to breathe. It is essential, if you wish to breathe in a perfectly healthy way, that the physical machinery used in the act should be kept in good condition. You must keep your spine moderately straight, and the muscles of your chest must be flexed and free in action. We must do well to remember that posture is very important. You cannot breathe in the right way if your shoulders are greatly stooped forward and your chest hollow and rigid. Sitting or standing at work in a slightly stooping position tends to produce a hollow chest. So does lifting heavy weights or light weights. The tendency of work of almost all kinds is to pull the shoulders forward, curve the spine, and flatten the chest. And if the chest is greatly flattened, full and deep breathing becomes impossible, and perfect health is out of the question. Which is why fitness and health is so very important, which is why it is so important for us to learn about our bodies and how to actually take care of ourselves. That muscles, when they're tight, that you need to stretch them, okay? That when you have knots, those are roadblocks in your own fascia, and you need to align them out, or that could cause the cumulative injury cycle to go into play, and that will cause a lot of inflammation within your own muscles, which will cause a lot of aches and pains, and possibly nerve damage, which will cause a lot of discomfort. Okay, all of this is very, very important. Okay, the way a person's body is a direct roadmap to how they take care of themselves physically. Various gymnastics exercises has been devised to counteract the effect of stooping while at work, such as hanging by the hands from a swing or trapeze bar, or sitting on a chair with the feet under some heavy article of furniture, and bending backwards until the head touches the floor, and so on. All these are good enough in their way, but very few people will follow them long enough and regularly enough to accomplish any real gain in physique. Remember, it's a very, very slow process. It's continuous, it's gradual, it's a lifestyle, not something you just do for several months. The taking of, quote, health exercises, end quote, of any kind is burdensome and unnecessary. There is a more natural, simpler, and much better way. This better way is to keep yourself straight and to breathe deeply. Let your mental conception of yourself be that you are a perfectly straight person, and whenever the matter comes to your mind, be sure that you instantly expand your chest, throw back your shoulders, and, quote, straighten up, end quote. Whenever you do this, slowly draw in your breath until you fill your lungs with their utmost capacity. Quote, crowd in, end quote, all the air you possibly can, and while holding it for an instant in the lungs, throw your shoulders still further back and stretch your chest. At the same time, try to pull your spine forward between the shoulders, then let the air go easily. So, breathe in slowly, straighten out, chest out, spine straight, shoulders back, and slowly exhale. If you guys don't do yoga, I strongly encourage you to look into it. Yoga is by far the best thing that you could do ever. Okay, yoga, first of all, is not an exercise. Okay, yoga is a stretch. It is a pose. It is a form of meditation. Okay, the meditation which connects movement within the mind and body. Okay, that is what yoga is. Yoga literally means yoke. Okay, and when you're doing yoga, you are yoking your consciousness to higher states and realms of being. Okay, that's what yoga is. You're yoking your own consciousness into growing and develop into farther states, because the yoga poses, not only are they for stretches, but the poses are there to help open up your chakra systems. Now, you have 7 energy systems in your body, and they're known as the chakra systems, okay? Just like the 7 planets, each one of these systems have been endowed within you, okay? And each one of these systems is represented by the 7 colors of the rainbow, okay? The seven rays or vibrational frequencies of chemical colors that we can see, okay? Okay, let me reword that, okay, to where it's much more simpler. The 7 colors you see in the rainbow are the 7 major colors that we have the ability to see. Okay, and those are the 7 main colors that represent these 7 chakras. Okay, and all these 7 chakras each have their own correspondence with the 7 planets in our solar system. Within these 7 chakras, you have 7 major nerve ganglia. Okay, that are all closely linked to the 7. Okay, let me reword this. Okay, you have 7 main areas of your body to where you have 7 major nerve ganglia. Okay, lots and lots and lots and lots of neurons, and these neurons are very receptive to energy. Okay, so the 7th major nerve ganglion in your body, and in that in turn you have 7 major endocrine glands within your body in connection to those 7 major nerve ganglion. And these 7 major nerve center or endocrine glands in your body are responsible for releasing certain chemical components within your bloodstream, causing you to form and function in a specific way. Okay, remember, we learned that the body is nothing but chemical reactions. Okay, when you think a specific thought, you are releasing specific chemicals within your own bloodstream, making you feel a certain way, causing you to enter into a different state of consciousness. Okay, so the body is like we are learning, since our thought causes specific hormones to be released inside our bloodstream. Those hormones are chemical hormones, in turn changing the chemistry of our body, which in turn will change the chemistry of our physical being. I still have a lot to learn on that subject, and I still have a lot of explaining to do, at least putting it in simpler words when it comes to that type, simpler words on those type of terms, or on that term of the situation. Okay, let's continue. This better way is to keep yourself straight and to breathe deeply. Let your mental conception of yourself be that you are a perfectly straight person, and whenever the matter comes to your mind, be sure that you instantly expand your chest, throw back your shoulders, and, quote, straighten up, end quote. Whenever you do this, slowly draw in your breath until you fill your lungs to their utmost capacity. Quote, crowd in, end quote, all the air you possibly can, and while holding it for an instant in the lungs, throw your shoulders still further back and stretch your chest. At the same time, try to pull your spine forward between the shoulders, then let the air go easily. This is one great exercise for keeping the chest full, flexible, and in good condition. Straighten up, fill your lungs full, stretch your chest and straighten your spine, and exhale easily. And this exercise you must repeat, in season and out of season, at all times and in all places, until you form a habit of doing it. You can easily do so. Whenever you step out of doors into the fresh, pure air, breathe. When you are at work and think of yourself and your position, breathe. When you are in company and are reminded of the matter, breathe. When you are awake in the night, breathe. No matter where you are and what you are doing, whenever the idea comes to your mind, straighten up and breathe. If you walk to and from your work, take this exercise all the way. It will soon become a delight to you, and you will keep it up, not for the sake of health, but as a matter of pleasure. Do not consider this a, quote, health exercise, end quote. Never take health exercises or do gymnastics to make you well. To do so is to recognize sickness as a present fact or as a possibility, which is precisely what you must not do. The people who are always taking exercises for their health are always thinking about being sick. It ought to be a matter of pride with you to keep your spine straight and strong, as much so as it is to keep your face clean. Okay. Now that is one thing that I can't, another thing that I can't exactly agree with Wattles v. Wattles about. Okay. Remember, to each their own, and they both have their own qualities. Okay. Just as your physical being has its own qualities, your mental being has its own qualities. Okay. It is fine. Yes, you can't think positive. You can't think healthy. You can't think healthy the whole time. You could hold the conception of you being healthy the entire time, but if you don't take the physical actions of being healthy, you're only gonna be in half the game. You're only gonna have half the cup full. Okay, so not only must you think healthy, you must take the initiation to actually be healthy. Okay, you do need to exercise. You do need to go out and walk. Remember all the science and what we have now when it comes to fitness. Okay, we can literally scientifically pinpoint exactly how much of protein, of carbs, of veggies, of calories that we need to be intaking, and how long we need to exercise, and how intense we need to exercise in order to get and fulfill the body that we need. Okay. So, there's one thing that I need to throw in there, because I can't agree with Wallace when he says all you need to do is think correctly. Because not everyone does think sickness, and they do get sick. Okay, they may think things related to when it comes to sickness, but it doesn't need to be directly that. Okay. Keep your spine straight and your chest full and flexible for the same reason that you keep your hands clean and your nails manicured, because it is slovenly to do otherwise. Do it without a thought of sickness, present or possible. You must either be crooked and unsightly, or you must be straight. And if you are straight, your breathing will take care of itself. You will find the matter of health exercises referred to again in a future chapter. It is essential, however, that you should breathe air. It appears to be the intention of nature that the lungs should receive air containing its regular percentage of oxygen, and not greatly contaminated by other gases or by filth of any kind. Do not allow yourself to think that you are compelled to live or work where the air is not fit to breathe. If your house cannot be properly ventilated, move, and if you are employed where the air is bad, get another job. You can, by practicing the methods given in the preceding volume of this series, quote, The Science of Getting Rich, end quote. Now, if you haven't seen that yet, I have my videos up on YouTube. Feel free to check that out. If no one would consent to work in bad air, employers would speedily see to it that all work rooms are properly ventilated. The worst air is that from which oxygen has been exhausted by breathing, as that of airplanes, churches, and theaters where crowds of people congregate, and the outlet supply of air are poor. Next to this is the air containing other gases than oxygen and hydrogen, sewer gas, and the effluvium from decaying things. Air that is heavily charged with dust or particles of organic matter may be endured better than any of these. Small particles of organic matter, other than food, are generally thrown off from the lungs, but gases go into the blood. I speak advisedly when I say, quote, other than food, end quote. Air is largely a food. It is the most thoroughly alive thing we take into the body. Every breath carries in millions of microbes, many of which are assimilated. The odors from earth, grass, trees, flowers, plants, and from cooking foods are foods in themselves. They are minute particles of the substance from which they come, and are often so attenuated that they pass directly from the lungs into the blood, and are assimilated without digestion. And the atmosphere is permeated with the one original substance, which is life itself. Consciously recognizing this whenever you think of your breathing, and think that you are breathing in life, you really are, and conscious recognition helps the process. So to it that you do not breathe air containing poisonous gas, and that you do not rebreathe the air which has been used by yourself or others. That is all there is to the matter of breathing correctly. Keep your spine straight and your chest flexible, and breathe pure air, recognizing with thankfulness the fact that you breathe in the eternal life that is not difficult, and beyond these things give you little thought to your breathing, except to thank God that you have learned how to do it perfectly. Okay, one more thing before we end this one. Charles even says it in his book. It's either in his mental chemistry or it's in You, and he talks about breathing and how not only do we breathe oxygen and air, but we also breathe in life, the infinite mind, the psychic element. We are also breathing that in. And he says something how when you breathe in through your right nostril, the air goes through your body as a positive force, okay? But when you're breathing in through your left nostril, the air goes through your body as a negative force, okay? The positive and negative, the two polar opposites of the complete whole, in order to keep yourself balanced. And I thought that was very interesting, and I just thought I might throw that in here. Well, we are talking about breathing. Okay, so that is the end of chapter 14. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching with me. If you liked it, please share and subscribe, and I'll see you when I see you.